What do you guys want to talk about?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Elite City Podcast. Did you watch any wrestling this weekend, man?
It's been several days, and I still can't believe Cody lost. Like, I still can't. Like, I don't believe. I know it's. Here's my thing. It's a WWE show, but I always kind of count. I'm going to count Cody as like an AEW topic, so I'm allowed to talk about him at length.
Absolutely.
I can't believe it. I watched it like. First of all, nice job. You didn't tell me. That's outstanding. I watched it like a day late. I watched WrestleMania on Monday, so I was behind. I avoided the internet for a day, and like, great job. I don't know how you didn't tell me, because I would have immediately wanted to tell you.
Oh, dude, trust me, I wanted to tell you, but I was like, oh, if he doesn't know, because I was stunned reading the results, so I knew you were watching.
The funny thing is, someone I am friends with on Facebook posted like a picture of like Paul Heyman at the end of the show holding the belts. That I saw it before I watched the show, but I quickly scrolled past. And then in my mind, I'm like, no, it can't. No, there's no way. That's like a Photoshop. That's from another event. I'm like, I don't believe that. So then, like, even though I saw that, I just didn't. I didn't believe it. I'm like, there's no way they wouldn't have done that. That's a terrible idea.
Well.
Here's the thing. I don't even particularly like Cody. Like, I make fun of Cody all the time. He's he's not even like my type of wrestler. Like, he's over the top. He's kind of annoying. But in the lead up to WrestleMania, like, I was sending you annoying things Cody did. Like, he's annoying. Yes. Like, he is. But even I was upset. Like, even someone who doesn't watch WWE that much and doesn't really care for Cody was like, how could they do that? So I can't imagine if you've been watching like the whole time and like really like how upset would you be at this point? Like,
they're Pavlov's dogs up there. They're already excited for SummerSlam when he's going to get the redemption.
That's the thing I don't understand. I get their points of like, oh, we need to have him have some more adversity so that people get behind him more. Like, I can kind of get that, but it's WrestleMania. Like, that's where it ends. I was thinking Daniel Bryan had like a bunch of adversity. Like, he won the title at SummerSlam, I think, and then Triple H turned on him, and Randy Orton cashed in, and then there's a whole thing until he got the title back at WrestleMania, right? And I was like, oh, there's adversity that worked out well, but it's because they ended it at WrestleMania,
right?
Like, yeah. If you didn't want him to win the title because you want him to have more adversity, don't book the match.
Yeah, or make it like a stupid finish. Like, make the person that jumped up on the apron and hit Cody, make the ref call for DQ.
Or like, something.
Yeah, like, make reason for the fans to still be behind him, but still be mad at Roman, instead of like, oh, wow, that was awful.
Right.
Like, because honestly, at this point, I think their fans would have. I mean, I think they would have still been mad, but I think they would have accepted by now. Like, a couple days would have passed if there would have been like a DQ finish
or something. Yeah,
because then there's like, oh, okay, there's not finality to that. That's
or like
pro wrestling,
or a really cool finish, like a heel turn, like if like Kevin Owens turned heel on him or something, right? You'd be like, okay, I wanted Cody to win, but like something really cool is going to come out of this.
Yeah, not
like this
usually happens on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, not the same guys who always interfered in his matches. Like,
yeah.
I don't get it. I honestly, I'm, and apparently this was a 100% Triple H call, which I believe, because everybody loves Triple H these days. Everyone's like super in love with his booking, and yeah, it's probably better than McMahon, but like, that's a really low bar to clear.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
But if you watch Triple H wrestle, he loves nothing more than things that are really, really drawn out longer than they need to be drawn out, and heels winning when you don't want heels to win. Like, that's his whole thing.
Yeah.
So of course,
makes sense.
Of course, drawing this out longer than it needs to be drawn out, and of course he's going to have the heel win because that was his whole career. He like won matches. You did like the WrestleMania 2000 when they had that stupid four corners match with a McMahon in every corner. That should have just been the Rock against Triple H. But they added Mick Foley and Big Show and all the McMahons and like whatever. The Rock should have just won that match. It should have been the Rock against Triple H and the Rock wins. Instead, they had to have Triple H win, and then there's a screw job, and then Vince turned, and like they overbook. Sometimes the easy answer, the obvious thing, is right.
Yeah. And
I don't know. I think he will win the title one day, but I don't think this thing is working. I think it's gonna be. I think what they hope is that he's going to get screwed out of the title so many times that by the time he wins it, like you're super excited for him to win it. But I think it's just going to, like, it's not going to be the same. People were super excited. Like you do that sort of ending when like the guy's not over and you want him to be more over. But Cody, like him or not, like Cody was super over. Like, I don't know if you saw that match. Like everyone was excited.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like he was super, super over. And I don't know how you don't have him win. I don't understand. I don't get it. It's such a terrible decision.
It was a god awful decision, and then screwing up Raw on Monday, which I mean I only saw memes of it, and I mean it was a clown show apparently.
Yeah.
So.
Then they have like 30 minutes of wrestling in a 3-hour show.
Yes, it was less than that. I think it was like 14 and a half or something.
And I was following online. And I saw, Brock Lesnar and Cody. And I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting. There was like 10 minutes left on the show. So I watched it. Literally the last 10 minutes was just Brock Lesnar beating up Cody, like for 10 minutes.
I know.
To the point where I was just like, are they just replaying this? Nope. No, it's still happening. It's still happening.
Okay, well, my question to you is, I mean, real wrestling journalists, not like people that break news, like journalists, actual journalists, have said that this was the biggest WrestleMania blunder in history. Do you agree?
The only other one I could see is the four-corner McMahon thing when Triple H won, when there was no reason for that. But at least that had a storyline reason. At least like Vince turned on The Rock or whoever he turned on, and like they had it was at least a turn.
Right.
It was at least interesting. Yeah, this might be because Roman's had the belt for so long and beaten basically everybody, and Cody was new. Like he never faced Cody. So yeah, this might be. Maybe the time Hogan came out after Brett lost the belt and then Hogan won it.
Oh, okay, yeah, that was WrestleMania
9.
But
at least people liked Hogan, sort of. Like at least like that got a pop. Like people cheered for it. Like it was a dumb decision, but like the crowd popped for it. Right? But
yeah,
I watched reports from people who were like in the building talking about it, and they're like, the first night Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn won the belts, and like they said people hung out afterwards and like were like cheering and singing along with their theme music, and like he goes, the second night everyone just left. Everyone just like quietly like walked out of the building. It makes no sense. None whatsoever.
I agree. Did this, and again, I'm not being facetious when I say this, is Cody's character, is it done? Is he done?
I think, and
a lot of damage was done.
Yeah, a lot of damage was done. It's Vince Russo, so I know all of our opinions on Vince Russo, but he actually made a point that made sense. Like people cheer for Brock Lesnar, even when Brock Lesnar's a heel, because the people think he's cool and he's been there a long time and everyone knows him. So like he gets cheers, even though he's a heel. Like, isn't this just setting Cody up to get booed? Because people are going to like when Brock Lesnar beat him. If Brock Lesnar just does a bunch of cool stuff and like beats him up a bunch, aren't people just going to start cheering for Brock Lesnar? Like it's entirely possible,
right?
And then it's AEW Cody all over again, where like he's supposed to be the face, but he's getting booed.
Oh my god. Okay, well,
that's also the thing. Cody has like a short. No offense to Cody, he has like a short shelf life where he's popular. Like he was super popular when AEW started too. Like people were into him, but like he's not that deep of a character. And if you let him do too much, he gets kind of annoying. So like they should have had him win the title, and then if people got annoyed with him in 6 months, you could just have him lose the title.
Exactly.
Whereas now, if people were super into him and he didn't win the title, what if they turn on him in 6 months? Then what do you do?
Yeah. Yeah. What if people hate him by SummerSlam? Like,
Right.
SummerSlam is a long time away.
Like, what if he gets hurt? He got hurt earlier. Like, what if he gets hurt?
Yeah. Or that. Like, honestly, God forbid, I'm not wishing this on Cody, but probably being hurt would be the best thing for him.
It probably would be.
Clean
Yeah.
Get a clean
People
slate when he
people
came
always
back.
people always cheer for you when you come back. Yeah, that's true. I think there is a relatively significant chance that people are going to turn on him.
I agree.
Because now it looks obvious. Now it looks like
right.
Before it was like, oh, he's a new guy. People are into him. Oh, cool. He won the Royal Rumble. Oh, cool. He's gonna they were still excited, but now they're in danger of being like when people turned against Cena or people turned against Roman because it's like, oh, I see what they're doing. I get it. It's not that interesting.
Right. It is okay. Now, going back to another question I had for you. Did Cody make the wrong decision by leaving?
I'm still gonna say no because he was like everyone hated him in AEW. Like at least this was a chance. Like maybe it's also gonna work out poorly and he's gonna end up people throwing his weight belt back at him. But like at least it's a chance. That's the other thing. They did the whole thing. They did the whole thing where Brandy was there and his daughter. Yeah. And then he gave the belt to like Brody Lee Jr. And like it was a whole that's your babyface superstar thing. And I know like what they thought was like, oh yeah, we're gonna make him seem like a really great guy, and then we're gonna take it away from him, and everyone's gonna be so mad, and they're gonna want to watch. No, maybe they'll just be mad and they don't care anymore. Like that's entirely possible. Like,
or they think it's utterly hilarious, like I do. I mean, I have enjoyed this, and I cannot move on without talking about the rubber chicken. This has been my favorite thing that has happened since I don't know, maybe ever.
It's been the internet's favorite thing.
Oh my God. It is. I'm sorry. AEW needs to make a rubber chicken. Like they need to make a rubber chicken. Like I was totally disappointed last night on Dynamite when a rubber chicken was not thrown in the ring. Like
I feel like if the Bucks were on, they would have done something, but they weren't on.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's throwing the rubber chicken at Cody more of a slap in the face than throwing the weight belt back. I'm being serious.
That's the thing, though. Like going into WrestleMania, like there was that interview with him where he was like, "Actually, I was playing a heel the whole time." Like, no, you weren't. That was like, okay, no, you're full of yourself.
Yeah.
But at least like generally people were into it. Like I said, I don't particularly like Cody's character. I don't particularly watch WWE, but like going into it, I was like, okay, it's going to be really cool to see him win the WWE title. Like I know that means a lot to him. And I know like anyone who's watched him in his career knows like that's what he wanted to do. Even when he was on the indies, no matter like he wanted to main event WrestleMania. So going into it, I was like, oh, that's going to be really cool for him. Like I want to see that. Like I watched it. Very big percentage of the reason I watched it was for that, because I was like, okay, I want to see him do this. And now he's back to like getting jokes made about him and like people are memeing him into things. Like
it has to be a nightmare. Like when they were backstage or wherever he found out about that finish, like his heart had to stop. Like
apparently it was weeks earlier too. Like it wasn't a last minute thing. Like apparently they decided it a couple weeks earlier, which I don't know how you tell them that. Oh, by the way, you know how you had that horrible pec injury and you wrestled through it and then you came back and they screwed up by not giving him any adversity. Like they made him come in number 30 in the Royal Rumble and eliminate like 2 people and then win. Like they should have had him come in the middle and like fight his way through it. Like that was the adversity that he could have had. But yeah, I can't imagine telling him, oh, by the way, you're not winning.
Oh, little do you know, my friend.
And Triple H's dumb reasoning of like, oh, Cody's tagline was finish the story. Well, in WWE, we don't finish stories. They continue 52 weeks a year. I'm like, but that doesn't mean like the company keeps going. But like you don't run one storyline nonstop. Like what kind of excuse is that? Like, obviously you finish stories all the time.
Yeah, like, is the Honky Tonk Man gonna like come out on one of those Legends Raws and challenge Greg the Hammer Valentine for something he did in 1984?
Right.
Like, I mean, come on.
Like Triple H is not still in Evolution, so like they finished that
Right.
story. Like
Yes.
DX is gone. Like that story's finished. Like,
The excuses are, well, first and foremost, when you have to explain yourself by making an excuse, you've done something wrong and you're on
exactly.
damage control.
Yeah, definitely.
And I mean, again, I'm not making a joke when I say this. It sounds like I'm making joke after joke after joke. I'm not. This is the first thing I thought. Like when they sent Triple H out to say we're not going anywhere, blah blah blah. That was the Titus O'Neil moment.
Yeah.
Like they knew what they were doing to that poor man. And he, like, literally talk about being thrown to the wolves. And I mean, Triple H, I mean, he did it with a smile, but how these people continue to do it is what,
Yeah.
like, I understand, but you already have the money. Like, just be like, I'm on live television. I have one chance to be like, you know what? This is stupid. Bye. Like, oh, you fired your daughter, aka my wife,
right.
and I didn't leave. So I don't know.
Ugh.
But speaking of,
That's the thing. It was a good
man,
match, though. Like, not to keep going back to it. Like the Cody Roman match was a good match. Like WrestleMania, I watched it. I skipped through the matches I didn't care about, but like in matches, it was a good show. Like they had good matches on the show. All they had to do was have Cody win, and people would have been like, "Oh yeah, that was a great WrestleMania."
It would have been over the moon success. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, especially after the buzz from night one, like when I woke up and read the spoilers and like, oh, okay, that was cool. They gave Sammy and Kevin Owens their moment. They're the new champions, blah blah blah. And then of course, I was thinking like, well, oh, okay, they're gonna end the whole shebang with Cody, and then Monday they're gonna end the whole weekend with the new champions, the new stories.
Right.
A hell of a weekend. Nope.
Yeah.
They did 1/3 of that.
and the match was going pretty well. Like the Usos interfered, and then Sammy and Kevin Owens stopped them, and you were like, oh yeah, finally someone's standing up. They're fighting, and then no, he's just gonna lose anyway.
Remember when Jay White showed up?
Yeah, on Raw, the Raw after WrestleMania, right? That's when that was.
Yeah.
That's when that was,
that's
right? Everyone told me that was
100%
gonna. Everyone told me that was gonna happen. Definitely, 100% gonna happen. It was definitely. So that must have. I didn't watch Raw, but he was on it, right?
Yes.
For sure. Yeah. And
that's where he
FTR was there too.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
definitely.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Glad to know that.
And did you know that Dustin Rhodes? That's who's getting Cody over the adversity when he signs. That's the new one. They're gonna sign Dustin.
Even if they did, like, what a lame finish is that?
First off,
and no offense to Dustin Rhodes, but like, come on.
Well, like, it's again, I hate when people move the goalposts to just like, oh, this is what I really want to happen, but I know what I like stinks, so I'm just going to keep pretending all this awesome stuff's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, all you have to do is just follow Dustin on Twitter to know that this is his last year of wrestling.
Right.
And then he just wants to be a teacher and a producer.
Right.
So he's also under contract for the next 2 years. So how they're going to get him to SummerSlam is beyond me.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I mean, the WWE news just kept happening. Well, it was their weekend. I mean,
yes.
WrestleMania weekend is in wrestling. It is the Super Bowl. I mean,
yes.
There are indie shows wherever WrestleMania is. That town or city, excuse me, that city has indie shows everywhere, and
right.
It is a WWE heavy themed at the beginning here. So
yes.
Probably should have started with that, but we just had to do
I had to jump into Cody. I couldn't wait.
Had to. Oh, well, yeah, that's another thing. We've been texting about it, but we haven't talked about it. So that was all genuine reaction.
You should have seen my face when he lost.
I wish I somehow was filming myself reading Twitter the next morning, because like the first one I read, I was like, "Oh, dude, oh, this is hilarious. This person has a tweet of the day. Cody lost," and then
Right.
I click on the thread. Oh my God, he really did. um, WWE made more news.
Yes.
They merged with UFC under the Endeavor brand, and they're going to offshoot and form a new corporation,
Yes.
which I can't remember what it's called.
It
I think
doesn't have
it's
a name
three
yet.
initials.
It doesn't
Oh,
have a name yet. I don't think.
okay.
No.
And
Is Vince McMahon is the what is he? Executive chairman of the new
yes.
company.
So he ain't going nowhere, and he somehow weaseled his way out of being fired from the company that he did own the most stock in it. So he turned around and merged it with another company and is somehow making billions of dollars.
and
It's unbelievable.
and if you think this is gonna like change Vince McMahon and make him like, now it's not his company, he's gonna be a different person. Look at Dana White. Is Dana White any different of a person than Dana White was before? No, of course not. They don't care.
Well, because all there again, same thing with the UFC. I was talking to my buddy who is a UFC fan, and he said the worst thing that could have happened was this, for the sole fact that, like, excuse me, it's overpopulated. Like UFC, like, okay, yeah, you can bet on it, and people like they enjoy that aspect of it, but it's on every month now. Like,
right.
it's just there's way too much of it. It's no longer special, and if you now have that with WWE, like, of course, and you know how Dana White and McMahon are with branding, like their names UFC and WWE logo are and everything. You
Right.
know there's going to be cross promotion everywhere.
Yeah.
Like,
I was thinking, I wonder if that's why Lesnar is now facing Cody. Like, is it because he's valuable to both brands?
yeah, and yeah, the
Like, if I was Cody, I'd be worried right now, being like, oh, the guy who I'm facing is really good friends with both Dana White and Vince McMahon, who are in charge of this new $21 billion company.
Yeah, and I was going to say, and that's another thing. Like, they now have they're now going to have a problem of, when Punk was there, he hated all the part timers and a lot of the people that do the hard, like the 300 dates a year. People are going to have a hard time swallowing the pills if people from UFC want to, like, hey, I want to do that.
Right. Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, hey, Mr. Midcard, you're not on the show tonight because so and so is. Like,
yeah. I mean, it's better than Saudi Arabia by far.
100%. I mean, I'm with you on that.
For like WWE purposes, in terms of them being able to just run not that we like the way they run currently, but in order for them to just kind of just run things the same as they always have, this probably worked out the best for them.
Yeah.
Because I feel like UFC is not going to like tell them how to, like, if they were bought by NBC or Disney or something, they might tell them how to run their company.
Oh yeah.
And Saudi Arabia, definitely, like, that would be the worst possible option. But
yes,
this one is probably like, I feel like UFC is just going to be like, yeah, you know what you're doing, and just like let them do whatever they do, and then be like, oh, we could do cross promote, like that's how they'll get involved with them, but they're not going to like tell them what to put on TV.
And Dana White he's just like Vince. He is going to look at that bottom line, and as long as they're not in the red,
right,
what they're putting out does not even matter.
Right. Yeah.
And did you see how? I wish I knew more about business economics, but did you see how they got around, like, remember how we were talking about the big thing was nobody wanted to take on all that debt.
Right.
Well, it was genius the way they did it.
No, I didn't. I know they did something, but I didn't know what it was.
They combined, when they merged, they combined the debt that they had when UFC was part of that Endeavor. So when Endeavor bought UFC, they took that debt and they combined it with the WWE debt, and they put both of those on the WWE loan. Okay.
Right.
So WWE has been making money hand over fist for years. They said, more from what I read and the way
Right.
I
Yeah.
kind of understood it, is
Yeah.
more than likely they probably got some sort of deal like, hey, look at this company we bought. It makes money. If we want to put all this debt against it, so since it makes money, instead of it being um, it's probably not like a house loan, but we're just going to use house loans because that's what I know about. Like, instead of it being like a 30-year payoff, you can do it, since this company is valued at this, well, you could do it in 10.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Like, that's the way I kind of understood it. And if that's true, that's absolutely genius, and that's scary because business mergers are scary.
Yeah. And I mean, from what I've heard of WWE's financials, we're not going to get too deep into this, but because of the TV deals and the Saudi Arabia deal, which as long as those keep going, which I mean, they have contracts right now, so those are going to keep going for at least a while. It's like just impossible for them to lose money. Like they could make money doing absolutely nothing.
Yes, just
like they could put on Raw and SmackDown and have 0 viewers, and it wouldn't matter, like, at all.
Right.
Like, it would be like they could sell no merchandise, they could sell no tickets, and as long as they have those deals, they still make money. Like,
and if I'm not mistaken, again, I could be wrong. I'm not that big of a UFC fan. I think UFC has something with Saudi Arabia too, but I could be totally wrong.
Yeah. So do you think, there's been a lot of rumors, UFC has their, like, I forget what it's called. It's like UFC Plus or UFC Pass or whatever it is, where like their monthly subscription service.
Pass.
Yeah. So they have that lets you watch like their regular UFC programming. But then if you want the pay-per-views, it's still like $50 or whatever.
Yeah.
So do you think WWE, like, one of the people from the new company said, oh, we're going to use the same model we used with UFC with WWE. Do you think that means charging for pay-per-views again?
Yeah. And I never understood why they got rid of that. I mean, it was great until you tried to watch something and your internet decided to get a hiccup, which of course it was the only time your internet would, when you had 10 people at your house.
Right.
And then there's no way to, like, oh, okay, we can't even watch it in regular definition because it's pixelated. Like,
right.
There's no, you just can't turn to another pay-per-view channel or something.
I feel like it was, the problem with that is it was too good of a deal. Like, Peacock is in the States. I don't get it. But like, I was looking at Peacock. Isn't it like, first of all, a lot of people get it for free, but isn't it like $5 a month or something? Like, it's really cheap.
It's insane.
And like,
go ahead.
And like, that means that they gave up, I know NBC's paying, like, Peacock's paying them to put it on there, but like, they could be charging $50 a month, and now they're charging $5, and that's not even just all them, right? Like, that goes towards all of Peacock,
right?
So that's other programming as well. I feel like any business person like at UFC has to be looking at that and going, oh, we could just charge 10 times more.
And like, so many people that I know, like, I mean, everybody does it, but I mean, my buddy, I won't say his name just in case, but we'll just say, like, his WWE network was the WWE network of like 25 people, and that's not
right.
That's not a an estimate. There was like 25 at least.
Right.
And again, with them not doing anything about well, it's really hard to police sign-ins, but anyways, we would all order them. So you're right by saying that, like, oh, one person was paying $10 a month, but 25 people were watching the pay-per-views.
Right.
So, and then the people that would just, put an email address in so they could watch WrestleMania for free.
Yeah, when it first
$10.
When it first came out, they had that was like your first month free. So I'm gonna say not me. I'm gonna say it was somebody else. Started 5 different email addresses and 5 different WWE Network accounts, and got several months of WWE Network for free. Not me. No, somebody else.
Definitely someone you
Yes.
heard of. You heard
Yes.
about that.
Yeah.
A hooligan.
An untrustworthy person that I wouldn't recommend hanging around.
Yeah, like so, and then like the other thing, I if you're gonna offer it on cable, there's gonna be the average person that would just be like, we'll use myself. I don't watch WWE, but if I was bored and like have your buddy over the house or something, be like, hey, I think SummerSlam's on tonight. Want to throw in and watch it? Like,
Right.
it's just an option that you can just do real fast. I don't have to go online, create an account, put my credit card in, blah 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 blah
Right.
blah, for something that I'm going to do once.
Yeah, I just feel like they're going to look at it from like a money perspective and be like, well,
Yeah,
people used to pay $50 a month, and people currently pay $50 a month for UFC. So why are we basically giving this away for free?
Right.
Like, it's basically free, because if you have a Peacock account, like you might not
Right.
you might have it for The Office. It might have nothing to do with WWE, and you just happen. Oh yeah, WrestleMania used to be $60, and now it's essentially free.
Yeah.
Like,
I could have watched it for free because Peacock is included with my cable.
right. So like I feel like that from a business perspective, like maybe WWE makes a lot of money from Peacock, but I feel like they could make more money if they just had, or maybe like a second tier. Like some of the pay-per-views are like not the big ones, not SummerSlam and Survivor Series, but in Mania and the Rumble, like maybe the rest of them will be free. And then if you want WrestleMania, that's going to cost you $50.
Yeah, I mean that's fair.
And I think people will go. A lot of people are like, "Oh, no one's going to go back to buying pay-per-views." I'm like, yes, they will. They say that now, but they will. Like, if WrestleMania is on and it's going to cost you $50, if you actually want to see WrestleMania, you'll pay the $50.
Or you'll find it somewhere else. I mean,
and if that's the case, you would have not paid for it to begin with.
Exactly.
So it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Interesting times, and that's not even going into Vince's mustache, which we're not gonna talk too much about. But Vince has a mustache.
It's actually incredible. I'm just. I mean,
is he trying to look like a cartoon supervillain? Like, is that it?
Oh yeah. I mean, he's a cross between Boris from Boris and Natasha from Rocky and Bullwinkle and Vincent Price.
Yeah.
I mean, that's. But before we move on, I do have to. With the sale of the company, it came with a few people taking, we're going to just put this in quotes, extended time off. And they're pretty major names, especially in the women's division.
Yes.
Charlotte asked for extended time off, as did Bayley. And there's big rumors flying around Bayley's name, thinking that she asked for maybe more than some time off.
Yeah, Bayley's situation is weird because she treated a bunch of like goodbyes and stuff. And maybe people are thinking, not goodbye explicitly, but like, oh, that was a great time or whatever. And some people are thinking, oh, maybe because she has a group now. Oh, maybe they're breaking up her group and she's gonna go do something else. And that's what she's talking about. Like, she enjoyed being with the group, and like maybe that's it. But I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. Well, first off, do you blame them? I don't.
Right.
And second,
could be Saudi Arabia though. Better than Saudi Arabia.
Better than Saudi? Yeah. Well, I'm just saying now that Vince is back at the helm.
Right. Yeah.
And my next question is, do you think there will be more?
I think there will be. I don't know, because I don't know if they can't really get out of their contracts, right? So I don't know if they.
Well, they might be able to now.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Endeavor might deal with, you might actually be able to quit.
Endeavor might let them, like, Endeavor might be like, oh, you're upset, you're unhappy, just leave. Like, they might not want to hold people on.
Yeah, or there might be like a 30-day lock or something.
Yeah. But I could definitely see this people being like rethinking their careers. Like, maybe if your contract was coming up in the next year, maybe you're like, I'm not going to resign right yet. I'm just going to wait. Just going to see how this goes.
Yeah.
Because even if it's, not Saudi Arabia, it is new owners and it is Vince McMahon back in charge. And I would be waiting to see how this goes before I made any decisions.
Well, speaking of decisions, the bidding war of 2024 might have just changed.
Yeah, I noticed MJF is not mentioning that anymore.
Yes. Well, 35 minutes in, we're going to talk about AEW now.
Hey, Dynamite was on. Great show.
Dynamite was on, and boy, was it on. Tony Khan and AEW made a statement last night, and that's just straight up the truth. They cemented themselves, and this is my opinion, they cemented themselves as the number 2, but possibly the number 1 place to work last night. And the future looks very, very bright.
Yes, I found it was we'll just talk about Jay White because it's the first match anyway. Something that I found really interesting about that was this was a free agent who didn't have previous. I mean, he worked in AEW a little bit with the crossover into Japan for indoor stuff, but very little, like just a short experience. Yeah. This was a free agent who didn't have significant experience with either company, and willingly chose AEW. A lot of the other guys, like when they signed, Bryan Danielson or even CM Punk or Jon Moxley, those were guys who had bad experiences in WWE. So they had a better shot of signing them because they were already unhappy. Not Danielson, but all the rest of them. They were already unhappy with their roles in WWE. So if there's 2 companies and you're unhappy with one, it's pretty easy for the other company to sign you.
Absolutely.
But this was a situation where he hasn't had any experience really with WWE and still decided he didn't want to go there. So I think that's a big deal.
I do think it's a big deal. And I wrote this question down for you last night to pose to you at this very moment.
All right.
2 things. 1, do you think that, I mean, he was a free agent, so he could have been talking to both sides, but do you think he used WWE to get a bigger number?
I mean, if he's smart, yeah, I would.
Okay.
Anybody would. Though I do think if WWE gave him an insane amount of money, or a really good idea, like he really liked it there, I think he would have went. I think it wasn't just using them. I think it was trying to hear what they have to. I think it was trying to hear what they have to say, and then maybe not really liking what they have to say.
Okay, because I was going to ask you a second part of that, but you already answered, so we won't even ask it.
Yeah, I think it was. I think he would have went if he liked what they had to say. I don't think it was just using them for leverage. I could be wrong. I have no knowledge of this, but
now my next and final question that I have for you. Do you think he had a backroom deal signed, maybe not signed, but maybe a handshake agreement like a couple weeks ago whenever Juice said that the Bullet Club is definitely coming? Or do you think this is all kind of coincidence?
I mean, it would make a lot of sense if that's what happened for sure, because...
And then kind of just strung WWE along. I don't want to say we all know me. I think everything's a work. I don't want to say he strung WWE along as a AEW work. I think he was working both sides, but since it was a free agent situation, he might have told Tony hey, I'll sign my contract, but let's keep this, because as soon as he signs, the other side can't talk to him. They'll leak, obviously. If he signs with WWE, Tony Khan would send out a press release in 2 seconds saying, I can no longer talk to Jay White. Wonder why.
Right.
Ding, 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 ding. So he doesn't sign anything per se, but he tells Tony, look, you have my word. Let's keep them so it doesn't leak, and then play them a little bit as part of the keeping it a secret story, not story as in...
He may not have signed. I don't think he signed yesterday. It's not like he was I watched Raw on Monday and was like, well, fine, I'm signing with AEW. I don't think that's what happened. I think it looks good that they think that it looks like that's what happened.
Yeah, that is true.
But I don't think that's what happened. And only because I remember when Danielson was hurt before Forbidden Door, and the story came out that he was talking to Tony Khan, being like, oh, who are you going to replace me with? Who'd be a good guy? Claudio. And then Tony Khan was like, oh yeah, I signed him months ago.
That's
so
true.
I think that maybe he did sign Jay White a while ago and was waiting for a good time to debut him.
And why not give the people what they want 2 days after they didn't get what they wanted.
Yeah.
Genius.
Yeah. The only thing I was thinking is I kind of wish if that's the case, they would have had him show up like the week before WrestleMania, just so that you knew he wasn't going to be
at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Right.
But either way, maybe there was a visa thing, because the Bullet Club thing did seem kind of stretched out when Juice Robinson was like, Bullet Club is coming, and then just kind of
month and a half ago.
Did nothing for several weeks. Like,
right. Well, I mean, it's official. I mean, but when Jay White, I'm sorry, I lost his name here. When Jay White, there was a gigantic Bullet Club logo on the Dynamite Tron. Wow, we never had to say what that thing with the big screen.
Yeah, there you go.
I almost called it the Titantron. I was like, we probably got flagged for that. There was the big Bullet Club logo, so it really looks like they're going to be able to use all the logos, because that's owned by.
That's all in Japan. Yeah, that's really cool. Do you think there's going to be more? Do you think there's like is Bullet Club? Is Bullet Club more AEW members, or is it more New Japan? Like, are people going to come over from New Japan, or
I think this is going to be the new faction. I you know how there's like Bullet Club Mexico,
right?
I think there's going to be like AEW Bullet Club now.
So it's going to be AEW people, not necessarily people coming from Japan.
Oh, that's what you meant. Yes, that's what I think it's going to be, a group within, because, well, I mean, first and foremost, if you take Adam Cole and the Elite, there's 4 people right there. So you have 6 guys that are actually Bullet Club members still.
Right.
So, but I don't know how they're going to handle that.
Yeah, I'm curious. I want to see what happens between Jay White, because the last time we saw Jay White in AEW, he was with Adam Cole in the Bucks.
Yes, and then
is he still going to be with them?
And he's the person that's what. Well, he didn't hurt him, but Adam Cole had his concussion against Jay White.
Right.
So there's also that story to be like, you can have, round 2. Oh.
So where would you rank Jay White in terms of like AEW free agent signings? What, like, out of the names? Like, he's not Punk or maybe or Moxley or Jericho, I don't think. But where would you put him in terms of like what tier he with?
Take all those other guys out, because I mean, those are like Hall of Fame level. Like, I mean, you could say CM Punk to a certain degree of people, and they're going to know who it is.
Right.
So I'm going to say this is big on the level of, this was the first independent wrestler that people knew who they were, that didn't choose WWE first.
Right.
Other than the Elite. I mean, but they started the company. And
right.
Of course, like all the AEW originals, like, so you can't say, but they also took a gamble. They didn't know that AEW was going to turn into what it did.
You can't say like Kenny Omega or whatever, because like,
or even like Best Friends and all that. Yeah, they were there from the beginning, but AEW 4 years ago to AEW today is, I know it's only 4 years, but it's a juggernaut compared to back then. So like I said, they cemented themselves as the number 2 and possibly the number 1 place to work right now. Signing him made a statement that, to make a pro sports analogy, everybody wants to play in the NHL that grows up playing hockey. Well, now there's the KHL. That's what AEW is. There are more. There's no longer just one league to play in and make money and make a living and see the world. So it was a statement. It was
really interesting to me from like I said, first of all, he was someone who had no prior experience with either one and openly chose, and like he was wanted by both. It's not like there's a lot of independent wrestlers who chose AEW, but they may not have been on WWE's radar. But also just with the way things have been going, like the trend on the internet in the last little while, and the trend with, a lot of people's viewpoint was AEW was really hot at the beginning. Then AEW was really hot when Punk showed up and all the WWE releases happened, and they signed guys like Swerve and Malachi and Keith Lee, and like they were signing everybody. Then for a while it seemed like, okay, that's it. Like now we're going to go back to the way it was before, where WWE is the top place, and AEW is
Right.
good, but WWE is the top place. It kind of reset the narrative again back to like, oh yeah, this is the place where everyone wants to go. Because there was a string of WWE guys who people thought, oh yeah, when their contracts run out, they're going to come to AEW. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and Johnny Gargano and a bunch of people like that, who everyone's like, oh yeah, they're going to go to AEW because everyone goes to AEW, and then they didn't, and it was kind of like, oh yeah, that's because WWE is huge, so of course. Right. And this kind of swung it back the other way again. Like, no, people are still choosing AEW.
Yeah, and
and a big name. Like Jay White was a big name.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, you're very right with him being a big name, and you hit the nail on the head when you said both sides were interested. Though I will say I just think WWE was interested so he wouldn't go to AEW. I hate to say that, but
yeah, I can see that.
They didn't know who Jay White was. Sorry.
I mean, they signed like before AEW. If there was no AEW, I mean, they signed Shinsuke Nakamura, who I don't think like Vince. That's not someone like he's a great wrestler. He's a great but that's not someone who Vince McMahon would see and go, I'm going to make him champion. Or AJ Styles. I was shocked when AJ Styles became WWE champion because I was like, oh, that's not someone that WWE typically would push. So like they have done things like that where they've signed guys from AEW, but I do think you're right. I think they sign them as like, oh, this is a guy in New Japan who has some buzz, and they don't necessarily know that much about them. They're just like, oh, there's a guy from New Japan who has some buzz. We'll sign him. If he sucks, we'll cut him. It's fine, right? Like they don't care about that stuff. So you're right that I think AEW, that might have been why he chose AEW. It's like AEW knows him. You know where he's going to be in AEW. Like in WWE, he could be champion. Like maybe he could have faced Cody next and become champion. Like maybe that's, but maybe he's Shinsuke Nakamura, who like they just kind of did nothing with for years.
Yeah.
Whereas at AEW, you kind of know, oh yeah, he knows all the guys. He's been there before a little bit. He has built-in feuds with like Adam Cole and the Bucks and Hangman. Like he has, I think he probably looked at it as like, yeah, I fit with this company more.
And he's going to get to be Jay White, the Jay White that we all know, not WWE's version of, like, and I'm being serious. Like, would he be able to be called the Switchblade?
I don't think so. I was thinking they'd probably call him, they'd probably call him like Switch or something. Like they probably couldn't say Switchblade.
At least, I mean, maybe on USA, but I doubt they'd be able to say Switchblade on SmackDown. That's
right.
Prime time.
I agree.
TV.
And he's only 30 years old, so the big get.
Yes, yeah, big signing. And I also loved how they introduced him.
Do you think he was late or Juice Robinson was early? Because they had the Switchblade sound and the Bullet Club come up, but then he didn't come out right away. Juice Robinson came out.
Oh, that's true.
And Taz was like, "Is that? Oh wait, that's Juice Robinson. Oh, is that Jay White?" Like I think he was a little bit late. I think maybe he came out like it didn't take away from it, but I think he was like a couple seconds late.
That's a good call. I didn't even notice. And when you said the Taz thing, I remembered the Taz thing, and didn't even dawn on me. But yeah, he probably was.
But I did like it. Like I liked him kind of just showing up.
And then that was it. I mean, they didn't even talk about it the rest of the night. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
You didn't need to explain who he was to anybody that was watching last night.
Right. Yeah, he didn't go in and like cut a promo and.
Now.
Like maybe probably next week he will. Probably next week he'll come out and do something. But...
I think I read on Twitter today that it is next week. I was going to say maybe Rampage, but no, I think it's next week.
Yeah. And a feud with Ricky Starks will be good.
And a feud with Ricky Starks will be utterly amazing. That all just made so much sense. Like, use Juice to get to Ricky because you weren't in the company, but he was. But you're both Bullet Club, so you're still talking.
Right.
So Ricky has this open challenge. Juice answers. Oh, the layers to it are awesome when you like actually lay it down. It was really cool.
It was really cool.
We had Chris Jericho backstage. He gets interrupted by Keith Lee. I thought this was really cool because I think this match is going to be way cooler than everybody thinks too.
Yeah, the Jericho Keith Lee thing is interesting because it's different. But Keith Lee's booking, I don't know, Keith Lee, I don't know, maybe it's him. Maybe he's like not full time or doesn't want to be there full time. But it just seems kind of weird that like he had to break up with Swerve and Swerve attacked him. So he was out for a while. I get that. And then now they're kind of just like Swerve shows up in a backstage promo and is like, I'm going to get you, Keith Lee. And then nothing. And then Keith Lee shows up and is like, oh, yeah, that's Swerve. And then nothing. Like, I don't know. It's weird. It's a little weird to me.
It is. But we're supposed to hear from Swerve tomorrow night. So maybe, maybe we'll learn something there. That's a lot.
But the match with Jericho will be cool.
Club. Oh, it'll definitely be cool. I mean, they're both wonderful to watch. A lot of people want to Swerve and Bullet Club. What would you say to that?
I think that'd be really cool. But I think maybe should be the leader of whatever he's like. Jay White would be the leader of the Bullet Club if they were here.
Yeah, I agree.
So I would think maybe Swerve is a good talker. Maybe he should be the leader of something, but then and he should be the leader of something better than like Tattoo Face Man. Like he shouldn't. So I agree. So Bullet Club would be kind of cool for him, and like he would fit in really well because they're kind of like cocky, and he would fit in really well. It would, I think it would work as long as they gave him a high role in it.
Oh, this is going to be so much fun. You said it earlier. You sent me a text. It's like this summer is going to be unreal.
Oh yeah, we're going to get to more of that soon, but
yes,
yeah, for sure.
We had the trios titles on the line. Not much to talk about here. We knew it was going to happen. It was House of Black versus the Best Friends, but we got to talk about Sue in the van.
Sue got like a Jay White level pop.
Yeah, she was getting bigger.
Like you could see people in the arena going, "Hey, Jay White's here. That's really cool." It's gonna be, "Oh, Sue!"
Yes.
Wow. The minivan showed up and everyone just cheered. It was amazing.
It was utterly amazing. Brody King is a freaking beast.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's just going to be, well, I mean, he is huge, but he's going to be a big player. And I think we're going to get Orange Cassidy and Malachi Black feud. And
that'd be good. Yeah.
I was thinking as I was watching this match last night, imagine those promos. Like Malachi will do this big, long, drawn out thing, and then like Orange will just be like, "Did someone say something? I really wasn't. I missed what he said." Like, and he'll just naturally annoy Malachi.
Yeah.
Which,
So, what do you think of House of Black as trios champions so far?
I love it. I love it so far.
I think they've been having incredible matches for sure. Like
yes.
It's a stupid concern, but my only concern is they're kind of just like wrecking everyone. And who are they just going to run through everybody and then run out of people to face?
Possibly. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Like no complaints.
Unless there's a trio that we don't know about, like that they have planned for them to like sort of feud with. Like I was trying to think of who it could be.
Yeah. Because I would like to see them in like a real, maybe Malachi Orange will be the feud. I'd like to see them in like a real, like kind of long-term feud where they get to like, psychologically torment people. Right. Like, I think that's what I was hoping for them to do with the Elite. So I kind of want them to get into like a longer term thing more than like a one-off match. But the matches have been awesome. Like they've looked great.
Yeah.
Every single time.
They were really pushing the Anna Jay and Julia feud, which I like.
Yeah, me too.
Where are we? Oh, LFI was at ringside. So that would be a good
actually, LFI is probably next. You're right.
Yeah. Good thing I wrote that down. I would have went right over both. Right.
House of Black occasionally wears masks. Maybe that's why they're going to be mad at them. Like they'll be like, "You wear a mask sometimes. I'm mad."
Yeah, so we're like semi-mad. They're like just annoyed.
I'm annoyed. Yeah, Roosh is just like, okay, but I'll get mad at you during your entrance because I don't like the mask.
And speaking of Roosh, we learned via Twitter, uh, via Twitter that Andrade is AEW. Weird. That
Yes.
when the internet said that he was upset, mad, and he wanted to quit. Nope, just tore his pec.
Yeah. Yeah. Apparently his contract's up, which
Yes.
I do think him and Charlotte are just gonna take time off. Like I feel like they're just but like she's asking for time off, his contract's almost up. I think they'll just take time off.
And this is just my opinion. Maybe they sign in AEW, but personally, I think they're going to go to Mexico.
Yeah. I could see that.
Just because, I mean, like AEW works with AAA all the time anyway.
Right.
So he can go there and have like, I mean, he's a rock star down there. You know,
Right.
he'll have all the TV time, he'll have all the main events and belts, and then he can come up here and just get the old American pop and then go back down.
Right.
I think not that you don't have freedom in AEW, but there's only so much to go around for so many people.
Right. I agree.
But it is good to hear that Andrade is doing good and not the disgruntled person that the internet said that he was.
Yes. And speaking of disgruntled people, we also heard that Miro was apparently backstage at the Ring of Honor show.
Yes. And
I just think I know this is coincidence, but I think it's hilarious that Vince McMahon is back in charge and both Andrade and Miro are like, by the way, we're available. Whatever you want us to do, we're here.
Yeah.
We're happy. We like it. Tony Khan, you're the
AEW.
man. Great job, Tony. AEW is the best.
Well, me and you were talking about it earlier today. How good would a King of Television versus the Redeemer feud in Ring of Honor be?
We need to get the Redeemer back. That would be incredible.
Oh yeah, when Miro was fighting God, it was those are some of the best promos
I know
ever. We had the women's championship match.
We're forgetting about my main team here, Christian Cage.
Oh yeah.
He had like a little short segment where he had Lucha Kane in some like spooky red door. I thought it was cool.
Oh, I thought it was amazing. And was that a brood tease?
Yeah, I don't know if it was a brute. It was brutish. It was Kane-ish. Either way,
yeah,
it was cool.
Are we going to get Edge in AEW? Adam Copeland.
Yeah, my only. I mean, his contract does run out this year. I think he might retire, but it would be cool if he came, even for like a one-off thing, because it'd be cool if they got to end their careers together.
That's what I was just gonna say. And if just say he signs for Forbidden Door next year. I don't know. I was trying to. There you go. Do you have them wrestle each other? Like, do you set up like a little mini feud, Christian being this mega idiot heel that he is, and then have them wrestle like Edge's final match?
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool.
See, yeah, I think it would be too. Like, so many people would want them to tag, but I think it'd be cool to wrestle each other.
Yeah.
In a wrestling company,
right?
Not in WWE.
Yeah.
But yes, it looks like Luchasaurus is coming back with Christian.
That'll be fun.
It's going to be very fun. Now, who do you think they go after?
I don't know. It would have to be
Jungle Boy's done, obviously.
Yeah, Jungle Boy's done. It'd have to be like a real face because like Christian is such a good heel that it has to be someone who is a really big face. I mean, if Darby wasn't doing anything, I could see that.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. Like, I've been trying to think for like a day and a half. Well, yeah, about a day and a half.
Yeah, but either way, like Christian will make it entertaining.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. We had, in my opinion, the match of the night, the women's match.
I agree. Yeah,
great match. Jamie Hayter versus Riho. It was unbelievable. Riho is, I mean, that girl she's unreal in the ring. And Hayter hits hard. Don't forget.
Yeah. Really great match for both of them, and like they're both. Jamie Hayter obviously has been really over for a long time, and Rio's always been popular. But her recent run, like since she came back, whenever that was a few months ago, she's been doing a great job. Like she's been getting over. She has a bit more of a personality, a bit more of a character now, and like she's always had great matches. So yeah, it's been great.
Oh yeah. And I'm just gonna put Riho over one more time. Her when she does the crossbody off the top rope to the floor, that it makes me cringe because I mean it's awesome, but it makes me cringe because it has to hurt, and
Oh yeah, for sure.
it's like I
For
just
sure.
don't understand. Like she does it all the time. Hater had the clean win, and I mean we're obviously the next segment had to be the Outsiders. They're backstage with Renee.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't come out. I was expecting the
I
Outcast
know.
to interrupt the match, but backstage was cool.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I didn't even think that we would have an ending to the match. I
Right.
thought they would just come down and decimate both.
Right.
I I liked the segment. I just thought it was dumb that Ruby said one of us will challenge for the title, and then it kind of just put that division in between them. Like, oh, that's what's going to break us up.
Yeah, I didn't like bringing that division in right because they're just getting started as like a pretty tough. Like it's weird to be like, oh yeah, they're gonna break up. Like that's, I would have liked if that would break them up eventually,
Right.
but it seems too early to do that now.
But anyways, that was my little. The promo was great. I shouldn't say great. The promo was fine.
Yeah.
I just didn't like they're planning that doubt already.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
2.0 in the Acclaimed. I want more of this. Max's rap was good, not great. I'm gonna be honest.
No, this segment was fun. Like they're all entertaining guys, so it's hard to have it not be entertaining. It does seem like since the Acclaim lost the titles, they're just kind of just like around.
Yeah.
And like they're entertaining, so they're entertaining, so they put them on TV. But then they were like, "You're gonna announce if you decide whether you're gonna join the JS." And like, "We're not." And they're like, "Well, we all have a tag match." And like, then what was the point of this? Like, I know it's because they're all entertaining guys and they want to put them on TV, but I wish they were doing something else. Like not like even if it was together, I wish they were doing something like a bit more interesting.
And I was gonna say, I hope this turns into a feud.
Yeah.
Like I really want either the match to be like turn out to be like a double cross by 2.0, or the old like Max Caster goes to tag in one at 2.0 and he like turns his back,
right,
and then they walk away. Like it just I hope that happens.
Because an actual feud between them would be fun.
Yeah. We had to celebrate MJF Day,
of course.
I'm just gonna say this was probably the hardest I've laughed, but the most entertained I've been in ages. This segment was so cool.
This was from a description of it, so stupid. Like so like but like it worked really well. It was funny. Like it was fun. It was entertaining. Like it was good. But it, like if you had never watched wrestling before and someone's like, oh yeah, now this guy's gonna come out and do a song and dance routine and then he's gonna get the key to the city, you'd be like, what am I watching? but it worked.
When they booed that guy.
I don't even know if that guy's like city managers, like something like that. Like but for some reason they hate him.
I thought that was the greatest part.
He's just like he's just trying to be a part of the show, and then
he has like 14,000 people booing him. Oh, it was so good.
And he was doing what they wanted him to do. Like,
exactly.
He's probably thinking like, no, but I'm giving this guy that you like an award. Why are you mad at me?
Right. Oh, it was so good.
Yeah, it was funny.
Oh, I lost my train of thought. Oh,
and ended by Jungle Boy.
Yes. Where do you think? Like, do you think we're going to get a fatal 4-way, or do you think he's going to pick them off one by one?
I think it'll be one by one. I think they're pushing Jack Perry as the one guy. Like, I think it's going to be like maybe he's going to make them fight each other, or he's going to do something. But I think Jack Perry is the one who they're going to have like the big one-on-one match with.
Oh, it's going to be so fun.
And then Sammy cut a promo, which was a good promo. Like, it was a good promo. It was a really good promo. It was a
great promo.
It just didn't work with this. Anywhere else, he would have been like, people would have been cheering by the end of it.
Oh, yeah. It was, I think I texted you that or something to that effect. It was a great promo that would have brought a normal crowd around, but it was an anti-MJF promo in Long Island.
Right.
He was going to be the heel. But people were, there was a lot of buzz around that promo this morning. So
yeah, it was good. And I like that they're kind of pushing everybody other than MJF is like, no, we like AEW. They're kind of like, they're making him the heel for talking about how he like doesn't want to wrestle and doesn't want to be here, which he should be the heel for that. So that's cool.
My favorite thing from like this whole thing, like real or not, like I just think it's hilarious that MJF talks about like how much money he wants in the bidding war, and Jay White just signs and all this, and it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, Darby was like, yeah, I just walked into Tony's office and was like, can I stay here forever? Like, he's like, I know it probably wasn't the best business decision. It's like, I laugh about that all the time. Like Darby, like we talked about when we first started the podcast, there will be like a Steve Austin, Steve Austin was in WCW, but
like
there will be
like an Undertaker or Shawn Michaels or something.
Yeah, like AEW will have that, like just because. I mean, some people find a place and love it, and apparently Darby's going to be that person.
That would make sense because Sting was that person in WCW.
True, and wow, good, that was great.
So that would be cool. Hopefully he doesn't sign with WWE in like 20 years and lose both his matches and then just leave.
and then someone throw a rubber chicken at him. It'd be great. I just thought of something. I probably wouldn't do that. I was gonna say, well, hold on, we'll get there in a minute.
Do you think they're gonna involve Darby more in this? Because they've involved Sammy and they've involved Jack Perry now and more with MJF. Darby hasn't really done much since that first promo.
Yeah, it's like Darby needs to do more. I think it's Sammy's climbing the ladder here. That's what I was just going to get into. He had a match against Commander, and Jack Perry has been cutting promo after promo after promo, and like, Darby's there, but like last night he was in the rafters, and Darby needs to like attack MJF or one of the other two. I don't know. He just needs to do something.
And did you notice both here and later on when Tony Khan was talking, there were 2 Cody mentions on this show? Do you think that was on purpose?
Yeah,
because they never really mentioned they never really mentioned Cody at all before. Like they mentioned, oh, Sammy beat Cody for the title when they're talking about like the history of the title.
Yeah,
but they didn't really mention Cody much before, and now they've mentioned him twice on this show.
And they did because they were giving him the props that he wasn't given properly.
Yeah, I wonder if that was just like, we feel bad, you're our friend. Like,
yes, like we're still cool, dude. Like, sorry, but we're having fun over here.
Do you think they both would have made those 2 mentions if he won the title?
Yeah, because then you can use it as like, hey, their world champion started our company. So
yeah, that's true.
It worked out both ways.
That's true.
Poor Cody. We had Sammy versus Commander, and I'm just gonna say, if you have, I don't know half the moves that this Commander dude did in this match. So just watch it, because it's unbelievable.
A lot of stuff where he ran on the ropes that you shouldn't be able to do.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not like he just does it once. Like he did it like 4 times. Like I
Right.
get that, like, oh, if I'd watch this dude every week, like that would probably get stale. But the fact that he can do that,
Right.
like when the I literally wrote down, I don't even know what that was called. I'll just explain it. Like he ran across the ropes and then he did like a springboard, like he jumped over the turnbuckle and did a springboard and then like a swan dive with a half twist. Like is that like roughly what it was? Like it
Yeah,
was
pretty
just
much.
weird.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was nuts.
Yeah, I can see your point
Sammy,
that yeah, if he was there every week doing this, like eventually it gets old. But
yeah,
right now it's still really cool.
like that's my one problem with like Lucha Libre. Like I don't think I could watch an entire Lucha Libre show.
Yeah, I
like,
agree.
weekly, but
Right.
like I could throw it on and watch like a couple hours of it here and there. But
Right. Yeah.
yes, seeing Commander every month or two, I'm totally okay with.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
awesome.
Definitely.
Sammy had the clean win.
Yes.
And then Sammy calls out MJF.
Yes.
And like that's what we were talking about, that promo.
It was a good promo. I liked it.
It was a great promo. Like I said, it just didn't have the weight that it would have anywhere else. They should have. I understand why they did it, but I hope they give him like um, a second shot this Wednesday.
Yeah, like
Like,
if you were
just
if he was going to cut a promo on MJF in Long Island, it should have been a heelish promo. This is clearly a very face promo, but he was going to get booed.
Right. I mean,
anywhere else, his whole like, I love AEW. I think this place is like that would have got cheers anywhere else.
Totally. Well, you can't have a Long Island show without Hook.
Yes.
I love the whole Ethan Page angle.
Yeah.
Hook hit a twist of fate. I mean,
yeah,
it is unbelievable.
Hook's getting a bit more of a personality now. Like he's interacting with people more. He's like, he fist bumped them at the end. Like he's doing a little bit more now.
We finally had Matt Hardy finally turned. On
See, my interesting thing on this is obviously he put something in the contract to like get out of the contract, right? But my thinking, if he could just turn on Ethan Page, why didn't he do it like 6 months ago?
I think there was going to be something like there was going to be in that contract, like it would say something like he wasn't allowed to use weapons, but he was allowed to use the FTW. Like he's going to word it so that so that he didn't cheat.
Right.
Ethan.
Right.
Like it's going to be really funny.
Yeah, that's true. That'll be fun.
And I really hope we get Broken Matt Hardy, because I was thinking of this last night. How awesome would a cinematic match with Ethan Page be?
Yeah, I think that's where this is probably going. Yeah, that'll be fun.
Oh, like Ethan would eat that up.
Yeah.
Oh,
and get Stokely involved. It'll be good.
Yeah. Then we talked about statements. This was the statement that was made. AEW, Tony Khan lived up to his end of the bargain when he said he had a huge announcement.
Yeah, when people mock, every week he has a huge announcement. See, I'm like, yeah, but they're all huge. Like this is legitimately huge.
They announced where their UK show is going to be. It's going to be in London at Wembley Stadium for All In.
All In, which they're doing. All In, not All Out.
So All In, their original pay-per-view.
Well, not even them. Predates AEW.
Well, true. Yeah, predates AEW. It was Ring of Honor, right?
It was a Ring of Honor ring, but it was like an indie show.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, it's August 27th, so it's like not soon, but it's this year.
Yeah.
And it has like 90,000 seats.
Yeah, I don't know how many they'll sell, but what I think was really cool is the original All In was like, you can no non-WWE company can sell 10,000 tickets, and it was kind of like a statement being like, yes, we can. Like we can sell more tickets than you thought we could, and this is another like, no, we can sell more tickets than you think we can, sort of thing. It's real. It's. I don't know how many they'll sell. I don't know if they're going to try to sell all 90. I don't know if they're going to try to, I think someone said when WWE was there, when they had SummerSlam, which was now 30 years ago, they did 70 something. Like they didn't even try to sell all of them. So maybe they won't sell them all, but it's going to be it's going to be the biggest crowd they've had by far.
And I think it sells. I think it sells out, and I'll tell you why. Because it's going to be their first show there. Plus, it's going to be there's going to be, it's going to be like Forbidden Door-esque, but it'll be.
So the announced attendance for SummerSlam in Wembley Stadium was 80,000.
Okay.
So
take about 10 off of that.
Yeah, right. So it'll be tough to sell 90, but you're right. It's their first show. It's like their first international show.
Right.
It's their first real big stadium show.
And they're good. There's going to be people are saying, oh, they're going to put Goldberg there. No, they're not going to put Goldberg there. And I'm going to tell you why, because they're going to want to do it without a name that is like a legend. Like Sting is going to be on the card, but it's not going to be it's going to be Sting's last match. No.
Right.
They're going to do it just like they did with Madison Square Garden. Like they didn't have Hall and Nash there for no reason. You know what I mean? Like it was just indie guys.
Right.
And that's what this is going to be.
Yeah, like the initial All In was just indie guys. And
yes. So I don't think they're going to have Goldberg. If they do, they do. But I think they're going to try to make a statement like, hey, yeah, he's great and everything, but he's part of that machine. We want to say that we're different and we don't need that.
What a week for Cody. He lost the WWE title. Now they're doing All In 2 without him.
Without him. Yeah. It's just like one poor decision after another for the poor man. I mean, they're just. Has to feel like
if they sell 90, which I don't know if they will, but if they do, that'll outsell Mania of this year. Because WWE claims 160 people were there, but that's 80,000 people twice. Right. So, and most of those people were there both days. So it's 80,000 people. So if they did 90, that's bigger than WrestleMania.
True. But of course they'll respond to that. Wow, it wasn't on US soil.
Right.
It's
but still
Twitter's already saying that.
That's
you're UK, do it here.
That's that'll be the biggest show, the biggest wrestling show. I don't know what Japan has done. Japan has some pretty huge shows.
I think they've had one with 100.
But this year, it'll be the biggest. It could potentially be the biggest wrestling show of the year.
Yes.
Not of all time. Japan's run 100,000 seat stadiums, but that would be. I don't know. I don't know how many they'll sell, but it's going to be a big deal.
It's going to be a very big deal. And
now, of course, because it's us, the CM Punk come back for it.
Oh, absolutely.
I feel like if you have I sent you earlier today.
You sell 90,000 tickets.
Yeah, I sent you earlier today. The buy rates for their pay-per-views, the ones with CM Punk versus the ones without. CM Punk sells tickets. CM Punk sells shows. So
CM Punk gets people to listen to your podcast.
Right. Yeah.
Seriously. I mean.
Yeah. The times we put CM Punk at the title of the podcast we get more listeners. That's 100% truthful when CM Punk is in the name of the podcast for sure. Do you think it's a pay-per-view or is it they haven't said pay-per-view. They just said event.
That is true. I like what you said. I didn't realize until I looked later that that there's something with Warner and that stadium.
Adam Cole said, I love how Adam Cole always does half of Tony Khan's announcements. I think it's great.
Yeah.
Adam Cole said it's Wembley Stadium's 100th anniversary this year and Warner Brothers 100th anniversary this year.
Oh, okay. So, I lost my train of thought.
Do you think they do something with Warner, they put it on regular TV or they put it on HBO or something?
Since he brought Warner into it, I think they're gonna I think it'll stream on HBO Max as a premium, and then they'll have it on TV where how you get to watch on Fight when it goes to picture in picture and I don't.
Right.
If you watch it on television, there'll be like picture in picture and there'll be commercials. But if you watch it like live on HBO Max, if you have it, it'll be like watching a pay-per-view. You'll just get
Right.
the feed.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I think.
I could see that too, because it's, first of all, they have a lot of pay-per-views this summer. They have,
Right.
like we alluded to, they have Double or Nothing in May. They have Forbidden Door in June. ROH usually has one in July. This is August. And then All Out, which isn't actually announced yet, but the rumor is it's going to be in Chicago again, which it usually is. The United Center. That's in September. So AEW is popular, but are people going to spend, that much money on pay-per-views over the course of a summer? I don't know. Then they want this one to be huge.
Yeah. And that's
so
why I think
if you're going to give one away for free, this is the one you give away for free.
Yeah. And they're going to make it so special. Like,
yeah,
they're going to be bringing people out of the woodwork. Like, there's probably English legends that I don't even know.
Right.
That, Excalibur would know who they were, that they'll pull out of the crowd. Like, I don't know. But it's going to be amazing. It's going to be fun. And it's like usually an announcement like this, like, oh man, that's going to be like in 2 years. You know what I mean? Like, it's like this huge thing's happening in like months. Literally.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see what, like, because I think for Forbidden Door, the one here in Toronto, I think they undersold themselves. Like the Scotiabank Arena is a big building. It's an NHL building, but like that sold out so fast that I feel like part of them must be thinking, oh, we could have went bigger than that. We could have sold 30,000. We could have gone to a bigger stadium and sold more. So I'm interested to see what this does on the first day. Like how many tickets move on that first day.
I've seen so many people on Twitter today, like from the United Kingdom, like saying, please, people, don't like give us a chance to buy the tickets. Like, I guess they're seeing so many people like, oh, I'm going. I don't care. I don't care what the flight costs.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
They're, the UK people are actually worried that people are going to go bananas.
Yeah. I mean, the UK is
the
UK is a huge wrestling market, right? So and they don't get too many big shows.
Right. So this is going to be, wow, it's going to be fun.
And the travel, I mean, traveling internationally in Europe is way easier than traveling internationally in North America. Like the flights are less far. Like you can get from other countries pretty easily, even though they're like, they're not in the EU anymore. It is still pretty easy to get around there. So this could be like where, people from all across the US travel to go to WrestleMania. This could be people from all over Europe come to this.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I didn't expect this when they announced.
Not at all.
Special. I thought maybe UK show, but I thought maybe they do like, a 20,000 seat building or 30,000 seat building. Like I didn't think.
I didn't even expect that. I expected like what they do here, like 12,000, 14,000.
Right.
I didn't expect a 90,000 seat.
I saw someone write on Twitter, because this is Wembley Stadium. There's also a Wembley Arena it's like a regular arena that holds like 20,000 people or something. And I saw someone on Twitter when it first happened, be like, did they say the wrong building? Like, did they mean Wembley Arena? And then like, no, they actually did mean Wembley. Okay. Because they get stuff wrong sometimes. They got the name of the arena wrong here. So
that is true.
Can you imagine if they said Wembley Stadium and then like had to come back, but we actually meant the much smaller building next door?
Oh, that'd be amazing. The only thing that I keep thinking about, and just for his moment, it's going to be amazing when Danhausen comes out in front of. I mean, even if there's 30,000 people, like seriously, that dude.
Yeah.
I mean, of course he's going to be part of the show.
Right.
And I mean, just that dude, like he has worked his butt off creating this. I mean, yes, he's a wrestler, but he's a character.
Right.
He's more of a character than he is a wrestler. But
right.
I mean, think about it. Like just saying that out loud, he's more of a character than wrestler, and guaranteed he's going to be on this show.
Yeah.
And
I was thinking about
so
like
much merchandise.
I was thinking about like Saraya, because she's from England.
Oh,
and she's been at WrestleMania, obviously. So like this won't necessarily be, the size of the crowd won't be like that different for her, but it's in England and she thought she'd never wrestle again.
Right.
And like obviously she's going to be at this show.
Do you? I'm like, she has to be high on the card, huh?
I assume so. Yeah, maybe that's
Yeah.
maybe they hold off her title match till then.
There's that. Oh, I just thought Pac,
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
uh, uh, uh. Oh, geez, Will
You think
Ospreay.
you think William Regal and Cody are sitting there both sitting in WWE right now, be
Oh,
like, man, we could have been on this show.
well, at least William Regal has the chance of being fired very soon.
Yes,
He
that's
is a
true.
Triple H guy,
That's true.
and you sent me the best text this week whenever I said, man, just imagine if he gets fired and just shows up randomly on Dynamite and they just act like nothing happens.
Yeah,
That
he
would
just
be the
sits down and does
greatest.
commentary, and everyone just like moves on. Like no one. Yep,
Yeah,
there he is. Because he's just keep talking.
just don't even be like, you haven't been here in like 6 months. Just nope. Okay,
Yeah, just and
moving
William
right
Regal's
along.
joining us. How's it going, William?
Wonderful man in the mask.
Speaking of Blackpool,
Yes, the BCC had a squash, and
yes.
Brian Danielson said the word amateur more than any other human being in the history of television.
I saw someone say, like, first of all, Bryan Danielson is an awesome heel. He's incredible at it.
Oh,
He's
he's
great.
great.
He's a great face. Bryan Danielson is rapidly moving up and he's already one of my top wrestlers of all time. But he's like every time he's on TV, he like rapidly moves up that list. He's so good at everything.
He's this generation's hitman.
Yeah,
he is.
but he is.
Except
He like
can,
yeah,
he
no shot at Brett. He's way better at promos.
Yeah.
Like there was a time when people thought Bryan Danielson couldn't cut promos when he first came to WWE. I remember that's what people were saying. Like, oh yeah, he's a good wrestler, but does he have a personality? Can he cut promos? Like, yes, he can cut great promos. He's really good. Like,
you just have to let them talk. Like,
right.
I mean, Claudio can cut them too, but we just
right.
found out like 7 months ago.
I saw someone say though, like Bryan Danielson is so like people did boo, but like he jabbed the guy in the face with a screwdriver, and like he could come out next week and do his yes chant, and people would all be all for it. Like,
oh, have you watched his AEW?
No, I haven't. I've been meaning to.
Oh, it's unbelievably hilarious.
He's the best. He can be funny. He can be serious. He can do it all.
Oh yeah, he's so good. Man, I just thought it put him. We didn't even talk about him for the London show.
I know.
Who in the hell is he gonna wrestle? Oh, him, Zack Sabre Jr.
Zack Sabre Jr.
Nick Aldis.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean,
Zack Sabre Jr. makes a ton of sense.
Well, he might do Zack Sabre Jr. Forbidden Door though. So
that's true. That's true. So
Nick
what
Aldis
do you
is
think?
Out there? Oh.
What do you think of? No one came out to help Hangman.
I know. Where was the Dark Order?
Yeah, I understand the Elite weren't there because the Bucks are hurt, and I could even see Kenny being torn as to whether or not he wants to help Hangman because of their history.
Right.
But yeah, but where was Dark Order?
Yeah, I don't know.
I wonder if they explained that, like they weren't there, or they were locked in a locker room, or like I don't know.
Oh, they're definitely going to explain it. They're going to explain. I hope. I don't know. That's all I could say. I can't. I've put my foot in my mouth too many times on this podcast. So
do you think this writes off? I mean, it seems like they're writing out the Elite, right? They're writing out like the Bucks are out, legitimate injuries,
right?
And this seems like you stab a guy in the face with a screwdriver, like he's probably going to miss some time.
True.
Do you think they're writing them? They want to leave. My thought is they want to leave Kenny by himself. They're going to take out everybody who surrounds him and leave just him.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And then he has a friend from New Japan who might be able to save him.
The other guy that was supposed to go to WWE.
Yes. So apparently, even the insiders have said he's not going there now. So.
Right. Unbelievable.
I think that might happen.
Oh yeah, I think Ibushi is as good as signed, and with Kenny.
I think they're gonna take out everybody other than Kenny, and then surround him when he has no. And they'll be like, oh, he has no one left. You know, Hangman's gone, the Bucks are gone. Like he has no. And then Ibushi's gonna come help him.
And then they better have Takeshita too.
Oh yeah. Takeshita. Yeah.
I mean,
This is gonna be fun. This feud is fun.
Oh, this feud is going to be a lot of fun. Then we had our main events. Tag team championships are on the line versus FTR's career. I think this match was booked very well.
Oh yeah.
I mean, obviously FTR wins.
I think we need to take a minute to talk about the Guns entrance, which was incredible.
Oh, the Guns entrance was absolutely incredible.
If you had told me earlier that they'd be coming out to a 50 Cent song, I'd be like, "What are you talking about? That's ridiculous." But it was so cool. It was great.
Tony Khan spends more money on entrance music.
I know. And it's cool. It's the best.
And it's so good. Yeah.
It's the best. Because WWE for years like just refused to license bands. Like they just refused to do it because it cost them. Like that's the thing. I don't get why they don't do it now. Like they're so rich. Like why does everyone not have like whatever? Right? You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
But anyway,
you don't have to get like Led Zeppelin. Like
right.
You don't need like a $2 billion song.
Right. But yeah, this was super cool. This entrance was cool. The Guns, like they won me over. I know I feel like the point of this title reign was to like elevate them, and they did. Like they're up. Sure. They've definitely been elevated by this.
And if you notice, like in hindsight, it's genius that they made it like quote unquote hate their dad. Because they physically got over without. I mean, Billy was involved, but like it's not like, oh, well, he's their manager. Oh, well, he's their microphone. Their whole gimmick was them hating him.
Right. And they did everything else they did on their own. Yeah.
Yes.
That was great. Were you worried? I was worried. Were you worried? Talking about the batch being booked? I was worried. Like they sold me on the Guns potentially winning.
I wasn't worried as in the fact that like, I mean, I wanted them to do whatever they were going to do, but I was worried in the fact that I knew what had just happened at WrestleMania, and I was worried for them being screwed.
Right.
Literally, I was like, man, if they sign, at least they're going to get a payday. But boy, these next 4 years are going to be if they signed. Like,
they sold it really well. Everybody sold it really well, though. Well. Yes, it could have. Like, I thought when they first booked the match and FTR came back, I said on the podcast, "Oh, they definitely re-signed because why else would they be doing this?" Right. But like. They booked the match so well and they sold it all so well that like I was like, no, I think the Guns might win. Like when the Guns got their near falls near the end, I was like, oh man, like I was totally in on it. Like I was totally foul for it. I bought it. I bought in totally. It was great. I love when that happens in wrestling where you like buy into what you think's gonna happen.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
It was cool. Great match. Like not a great like technical match, but you're right. Very well booked. Story book done exactly the way it should have been done.
Now, what do you do with the Guns now?
Yeah, that's tough. I don't know. Because they're not gonna feud with the Acclaimed again, because they already did that a couple times.
Right.
But they have to feud with a face team because they're obviously heels. Best friends?
Well, best friends works.
I don't know. Lucha Bros?
Yeah. Well, if you do Lucha Bros, then they'd have to go to Ring of Honor, which is not that big of a deal.
Right. Yeah.
Well, if they wanted the belts, I guess.
They'd be pretty over as heels in Ring of Honor.
Yeah. They'd be good heels in Ring of Honor. It's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And I don't even necessarily know what to do with FTR because there are not that many tag teams right now.
That's true too. I
mean, ultimately, I want to see FTR against the Bucks again, but not for a while.
Right.
Not only because the Bucks are injured, but because they're in the middle of something else.
Do you give them Aussie Open at Forbidden Door?
I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, that'd be a good match.
And the match would be great.
Oh, it'd be so good. Wow. Okay.
Did I mention I'm going to be at Forbidden Door? I haven't mentioned that yet this week.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. 95 minutes.
There you go. It took a while this time.
But boy, what a week.
Oh yeah, what an incredible week. Like
Incredible.
Even though, I mean, the ratings came out and the ratings didn't necessarily show momentum for AEW, which is fine. Like their ratings, whatever.
Yeah.
But the sentiment that people have for wrestling, like there was a feeling when Triple H came back to WWE and like Cody showed up, and there was a sentiment that like, oh, AEW had its run, and now Punk's gone from there, and Cody's in WWE, and like the momentum's kind of shifted back to, I mean, not momentum, but like the consensus on like people, wrestling fans, was like, oh, WWE's good again, and now it's kind of shifted right back again. They did what they needed to do on this show for sure.
I mean, it was.
Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett could go after FTR. That's another thought.
Oh, the team that we hated at first,
and now they entertain me. Yeah.
Oh, unreal. Do you have any closing thoughts?
I don't know. Not really. Great show. I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to live Rampage this week and Battle of the Belts.
And Battle of the Belts.
So that's going to be fun. Great.
Late night.
Like I said, they did exactly what they had to do. This wasn't, again, this is another, like, not necessarily an outstanding wrestling show. Like the women's match was the best match, and it was a great match.
Agreed.
But like the stories that they have going right now, the flow of the show, the way they're putting together their broadcast, like this is exactly what they need to do. Like AEW has been really hot for a few months now, and it's only getting better.
Yeah, I agree. A few months back, whenever Jericho made the comment, we're a professional company, we need to start acting like one, or whatever it was. We're a big name company, we need to start acting like one.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the moment that, not that they were, bootleg or anything before, but from that moment on, things really started to shift direction, and you're starting to see a lot of culmination. Like they've hired more producers backstage, like actual like wrestling producers that work for WWE and stuff, and it's really starting to come.
And Jeff Jarrett's done great things for like backstage, not just on TV. Like touring backstage. Like I'm sure he has a lot to do with this UK tour too. Like
I was just gonna say that just dawned on me this second. I wonder how much Jeff Jarrett had to do with booking this. His unrestricted interview is very interesting. Like he's a big analytics guy, and he ran like tons of analytics in TNA, and he was talking about like that's basically what he's doing in AEW, and like he was talking about like the C markets, and that's where like AEW wants to go. And he was talking about like these house shows that they're running, and he was like, yeah, we can go into a C market where WWE runs 0 shows. So if there's 0 shows and you go in and you sell 1,000 tickets, well, you make money. And it's like, oh man, that makes so much sense. Like WWE doesn't care about like a place where only 1,000 people can go to.
Like they don't need to do that. Yeah.
So, but if you go there where nobody goes, you're going to sell out every time.
Yeah.
And you're going to make new fans because it's like, hey, there's nothing to do. Oh, well, that wrestling show's in town. Let's go. Like it just makes so much sense. And Jarrett, he's done a lot.
Yeah, definitely. Well, since we have some time, do you want to go over the homework that we assigned ourselves a couple weeks ago that we haven't done?
Absolutely.
The homework that I suggested, if you could talk about wrestling to anybody, and this is like in current time, so you can't like bring people back from the dead or like whatever. This is like today, like tomorrow you have a phone call with this person or a meeting with this person. But you can talk about any wrestling thing you want with anyone involved in, the wrestling industry, wrestlers or whoever. Who would it be? So you can start.
Oh, you're going to let me start?
Yeah, you can start. Go ahead.
Well, I promise you I wouldn't pick the Hitman.
All right.
And I stuck to that. And mine's a weird one, of course.
Of course.
Because I absolutely. 100% And the reason I would do it is because he's been everywhere that has been relevant, and I would talk to DDP.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. That's a good
He
one.
was in WCW when WCW was hot. He was in WWE and he was one of the few WCW people that had success in
Right.
WWF/WWE. And now, like, he didn't wrestle in AEW, but I mean, he did things with Cody and Dustin
Yeah.
in AEW. And just to sit down and like pick his brain on, like, I mean, obviously he knows a thousandfold what I know about pro wrestling, but like I would want to sit down and watch, like, okay, let's watch Macho Man and Steamboat from WrestleMania 3, and then let's watch Brett versus Owen, and then Omega versus Osprey, and
Yeah.
just you know 3 generations with him, and just be like, just to watch him watch them, I think would
Yeah.
be amazing.
That's a really good
So
one. That's a really good one. I like
Thank
that
you.
a lot. Especially because I don't know, he's also has like a personal, like he has the stuff with Jake the Snake, the stuff he did with Scott Hall. Like he
Yeah.
has a lot. Like yeah, that's a really good one. I didn't even think of him, but that's a really good one.
And to me, he seems the most open-minded, whereas like a lot of like the older guys be like, "Oh, I don't understand all that flippity stuff. It's stupid."
Right. Yeah.
Like he seems to be like, "Oh, I would have never thought to do that," or the way that he jumped right there or something. I don't know.
And he started wrestling late, so he had like he was a
Right.
manager first. Yeah, that's a really good one. I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
Mine is similar in this, and not
Nice.
in person, but for reasons. Mine is Kevin Nash.
Nice.
Because similar reasons. I mean, he was the top guy in WWF. He was the top guy in WCW. He was the reason that contracts are the way they are now.
Yeah.
He knows all the big players in wrestling. He's pretty close with Vince McMahon, Eric Bischoff, Hogan, Triple
True.
H, Shawn Michaels, Scott Hall, the late Scott. Like he's pretty close with all the big guys. And he's like, I know he's like everyone's biased towards themselves, and everybody, when
Right.
you tell a story, you want to make yourself look good. But he doesn't seem to be as full of himself as a lot of the other guys. Like if you had a conversation with, Shawn Michaels or even Bret Hart, like they're putting themselves over in like every conversation
True.
they have. And why not? Like I do it too, right? When you tell a story
Oh,
about
absolutely.
when you tell a story about, an argument you had with someone, like you're not going to say, "Oh yeah, I was a jerk." Like you're going to make yourself look like
Yeah.
the good guy. I get it, but I don't know. Kevin Nash seems like someone who will just talk. Like he's not really involved in wrestling anymore than like he'll go to an NWO thing when they have a Legends thing.
Right.
But he has no interest in putting himself over at this point at all. So I think that would be pretty cool. But I think his business aspect, like he knows so much about like the business end of wrestling and like wrestler contracts and touring and the money involved. And I don't know. I just think that would be really interesting to learn about. He's not like the best wrestler, like in terms of talking about like wrestling techniques, but like I'm always really interested in like the backstage stuff and the the touring stuff and the money aspects. And like I'm sure he'd have great stories about like having to drive in a van for 12 hours with the Undertaker or something, right? Like I think that'd be cool.
And weren't him and Scott Hall, weren't they one of the first to, like, they filed like the patent for the NWO? Like weren't they the first like that owned their own rights?
Yeah, I think they were. It was even I saw him on his podcast. He was talking about when they decided in WWF they were going to call him Diesel when he came over. And he said he lived in Europe. He played basketball. He lived in Europe for a while and he knew Diesel jeans, like the jean brand.
Okay.
And he's thinking, no, but we can't trademark that. So if you sell a shirt with my name on it, Diesel Jeans can also sell a shirt that says the same thing.
Oh.
I want to own the thing that I put my name on, right? Like he's like, oh man, that I think he got it in Vince's mind because he said one of the things was, oh, can't we put a Z in there to like so we can trademark? And now that's all Vince does. Like Taz is gonna have 2 Zs, right? Like
wow.
I think he got that in Vince's mind. I think he might have started all this. The trademarking every name thing. I feel like
It's a good
he told
idea.
Vince that. Vince was like, yeah, we could do that. Like, and you're right. I think when they went to WCW, they're like, we're going to use our own names because we own those names.
See, that's I don't understand why you would take that away from somebody. Like,
Right.
I mean, just imagine like an athlete that's right-handed, and then they get drafted, and they're like, well, guess what? You're left-handed now.
Right.
Like, what?
I mean, I
yeah,
get
they
it.
bust
I
the-
get it in one sense. Like if you play Batman and you're an actor who plays Batman, like you don't
Right.
have the right to sell shirts that have Batman on them, right? Like DC Comics owns Batman, so I kind of get it. But in this, like wrestling is different. Like
Right.
you're getting over yourself, and you're not playing a role that someone else has played. You're playing your own. Like
and
you've kind of
build
make
that
the
brand.
character, yeah.
And you build that brand, and they take it away. Like, I mean, like I always say, like, I mean, of all characters that should have been signed by WWE, Danhausen should have been signed years
Right.
ago. I mean,
Right.
his whole gimmick is he doesn't swear, he doesn't do it. I mean, it's
Right.
genius.
Right.
But they would never sign him because he owns all that.
Right. And they couldn't.
Like
Yeah.
yeah, and they couldn't exactly.
Yeah.
And I just don't get that. Like, but then they'll make, which again, the locker room morale has to be terrible. Like Logan Paul can come in and
Right.
he owns his name and all their sponsorships that he comes along with.
I mean, that might actually change now that UFC
True.
owns them, because UFC lets them get sponsorships on like their gear and like sign outside deals with companies. So maybe that'll change now.
Again, like I never understood that. If I worked for WWE, and like I get when Brock Lesnar came in, like he had signed contracts when he was in UFC for like Jimmy Johns and all that.
Right. Yeah.
And they didn't necessarily end on the day that his UFC contract ended. So when
Right.
he initially signed with WWE, they were like, oh, okay, you can use that. Well, then he just kept re-signing with them. I think they kind of thought that he was just going to let it run out.
Right.
But the thing that makes me mad again, and the morale has to be low there. Like every Brock Lesnar shirt has to have that stupid Jimmy John's logo on it.
Right.
And
yeah.
like, and then they'll make like one Bianca Belair shirt.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I don't
I mean, that was one of the things I think CM Punk was upset about there, being like, well, why is he allowed to do that? And how come I'm not allowed to do that?
Right. It makes zero sense why certain people are allowed to do certain things. I just, I don't know, whatever.
But I like that both the people we picked were,
yes,
for similar reasons. Like they've been in the industry a long time. They know a lot about different companies. DDP is I didn't even think of him, but yeah, I really like that. I really like that choice.
Initially, I was going to pick like Cowboy Bob Orton,
right?
Just to be like, oh, the stories would be great, because they would be. I mean, him and Piper were like best friends. I mean,
right?
Imagine the stories, like. But then, like, you were like, oh, talk about wrestling, like today's wrestling, and then I was like, how about doing like somebody that was involved in a DDP stiff?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, like, I thought about Bret Hart. Like that was my initial thought, but I was like, he's going to be really cool to talk about, like wrestling moves with, like how you work in the ring. That's going to be, he's going to be like obviously really great at that. But like anything to talk about the wrestling industry, like you kind of know how Bret Hart feels about the wrestling industry, and like he's angry at it. So like you're gonna get a lot of like ranting, not like information, which is cool, but like not necessarily what I'm looking for. And he's not, and yet he's not gonna curse out Vince McMahon, which I don't get, because he should. I don't understand it.
He should. But hopefully, with this new Endeavor deal, hopefully the Hitman can get out of this Legends contract.
Yeah.
Or hopefully the Legends contracts, they'll be able to do things. Like, I get that they're just giving them $1 million a year, basically, to do absolutely nothing.
Right. Yeah.
100%.
I mean, if you got offered that deal, take it. Like
100. Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
Oh, for the rest of my life, I get a free $1 million. Absolutely.
Right. And they like once in a while sell a shirt with my name on. Yeah, that's fine. Like,
yeah. But the fact that, of course, if he would, like, he's not going to have a whole segment on AEW. Like, to get him there for the Owen. And of course, they would say WWE Hall of Famer and Owen
Right.
Hart's brother, Bret
Right.
Hart, or
Yeah.
you know. But nope, he's not allowed to do that.
I wonder if that sort
So-
of thing might change with the new
That's what I was
company,
just gonna say.
where like
Hopefully stuff.
where they'll
Go ahead.
like it'll go both ways. Like when they didn't want to have Billy Gunn because they didn't want to say he's from AEW. Like maybe
Right.
UFC or Endeavor doesn't care about that. Like maybe they're fine. Like I don't
Right.
watch enough UFC to know that they talk about like other MMA companies.
Oh yeah, all the time.
Like if you were a champion in like Bellator or something, like they'll
Yep.
mention that, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Because that makes
yeah.
sense that they
Exactly.
they would, right? So maybe that will change. That like WWE will stop acting like they're the only company in the world.
And they'll even let people fight like for multiple companies. Like if you like they'll have someone come in from Bellator to fight
Right.
like or I don't or whatever UFC that I kept wanting
Right,
to call
yeah.
WWE. Yeah, so they are pretty open to things like that, to my knowledge.
So that might be good.
That might be good. Hey, maybe Forbidden Door next year. WWE.
Vince
That'd be
McMahon would
wild.
rather like just shut the whole company down than like you're gonna
Work
lose
with
billions of
anybody else.
dollars if you do this. I don't care.
Yes, it's better than working with other people.
Yes,
I'm right.
that's right.
Look how happy the fans are. More people watch Raw when I booked it than any.
Last
So
two
there-
WWE things before we go. One,
Yes.
the Cody thing was a clear example of how DDP, another one. They make you get over in WWE. They don't care that you were over
Right.
somewhere else. Like I remember, like Booker T came in and they just like jobbed him out to Triple H, and then was like, "Now he's King Booker. We got him over." And like, not like, come on, like,
Yeah.
and I forget what my other thing was, but yeah, that's it.
Sick. Well, on that note, we will call it right there. We'd like to thank you once again, everybody, for listening to us ramble. And this week, there were a few more rambles than.
Yeah, lots of
usual.
rambling. It was a great week for AEW, but it was also a huge week for WWE and wrestling in a whole. So we had to talk about all the rest of it.
Yeah. Good weeks for all those people or all those companies. Bad week for Cody Rhodes.
Poor Cody Rhodes.
Poor
Like I
Cody.
said, I don't even particularly like Cody Rhodes, but I feel bad for the guy.
Oh, I absolutely feel bad for it. It's hilarious yet awful.
Yes.
Everybody, thank you again for listening. We are at Elite City Pod everywhere. If you were confused, just Google us. We will come up.
Yes.
We have
You're going to be at
some-
Dynamite pretty soon.
Yes, that's what I was just gonna say. We have some live shows coming up. I will be at Dynamite in
Exciting.
like 14 days or something. Or less
That's
than that
awesome.
now.
Yeah, like less than 2 weeks. Not the next Dynamite, the one after that.
Yeah.
I'm sure Britt
And-
Baker does something there.
Absolutely, oh, for sure. And just a little heads up, I had some business cards printed up that I plan on passing out at the show. So if you see me, come say hi and I'll give you a card. They're for the podcast. We're going to try to stamp as many people as we can at the Dynamite show in Pittsburgh. So
Awesome.
yeah, it'll be fun. So yeah, if you see me, come say hi. But anyway, that is all for this week. Thank you again. Any final words, my friend?
No, one thing I just thought of is even if Cody wins the title at SummerSlam,
Okay.
that's in August.
Yes.
Cody can win the title, and then like a couple weeks later, they'll have All In where they sell 90,000 tickets, presumably with like
See?
with his friends being like, "Hey."
He'd get overshadowed again. Oh my God, this poor man's life right now.
Poor Cody.
Wow, poor Cody.
Shouldn't have got that neck tattoo. It all went downhill.
That is true. Your first one should never be on your neck. I mean that should be. I mean that you think that'd be a given, but anyway.
Thanks for listening. Sorry for all the
Thank you
rambling.
for listening. No, it's wonderful. It's hilarious. Until next week. Later.